guess the real key moment in like me breaking through on TikTok was after like a motivational video that kind of went viral. It's almost like 2 million views so far. So why are we always in a rush to get from A to B? Are we afraid that we may miss something that we were supposed to see? But in our it's a journey. Anyone can be sick anytime. With mental health, you can't see it. And I think that's the difficulty because we hear so many stories, like we see especially...
Hello and namaste. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Tell Behind the Curtain. We are honored to have a truly inspiring guest with us. She is a TEDx speaker, an author, and a mental health advocate who has touched thousands of lives through her powerful storytelling and motivational content. From winning Miss Congeniality at UNA 2018 to sharing her wisdom on tackling negative thoughts in her TEDx talk, she continues to inspire us to find balance in the chaos of life. So get ready to be inspired. We will definitely have a meaningful conversation with this public figure. So let's welcome Anita Sapkota.
Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste all the viewers. I'm so glad to be able to speak to you today. It is a great opportunity to voice myself and have this platform to speak to you as well. A little bit of background about me is I am... Next month, actually, it will be my 28th birthday,
Wow.
October 6th. But I've been here in Australia for many, many years. You could practically say I was born here. I came here when I was 18 months, obviously not by myself, with my mum and dad. Dad came here in 1996. Prior to that, he was in Germany for about 3-4 years. He came here on student visa. I've got an older sister, older brother, and it's been an interesting journey since then.
Wow. So practically, yes, you were born here. Like that, at that time, if you 25 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
almost.
Definitely Australia was completely different than what it is now.
Of course, growing up, like even on the streets nowadays, you hear the people around you, like, you know, there's a lot of Nepali people in this day, like currently. And back then when I was growing up in high school and like primary school and daycare even, there would only be 1 or 2 Nepali people. And now it's just like everywhere you go, you kind of see like us.
Yeah, there are a lot of Nepalese, especially as a student. Back in those days as well, your father came as a student.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember I had a guest who came here in 1994.
Oh, okay.
And he used to tell me like they used to gather around during festivals,
Mm-hmm.
and there used to be hardly 400 to 500 Nepalese in all over New South Wales. And they used to wear dhaka topi and go around so they could be identified as a Nepali.
And even back then when people like used to ask, oh, where are you from? They automatically guess like, oh, India or countries like that. Now people are also guessing Nepali because of the exposure. But back then they don't even know where Nepal is.
Yeah, nobody even, like 20 years ago, it was hard. But even when I came 12 years ago, when I told them that I'm Nepali, I'm from Nepal, they were like, where it is? Like, where? So I had to tell them it's in between China and India.
Yeah,
it's a small country. And they used to look it up and they knew about Mount Everest and Buddha. And so, yeah, but now people are, they know us.
And they go, oh, the momos.
Oh, yeah, momos, interesting. So do you like momos?
I love momo. Yeah,
Like,
chow mein, momo, pani puri, all that.
so you're typical Nepali.
Oh, I guess so.
So, as I mentioned earlier, you were a TEDx speaker as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
What led you to become a TEDx speaker and a mental health advocate?
So I actually applied for TEDx like 3 or 4 times. I think on my 4th go, I got accepted, and it was the concept of be who you want to be. After, I would say, in year 10, when I was 16 years old, I kind of got this self-discovery as I was searching about social anxiety. And when I came across the signs and symptoms, I just felt connected. Oh, this sounds like a little bit of me. And as soon as I read these things, I tried to like think of ways how to overcome it. So when I was in year 11, I forced myself to join drama class as one of the electives. And that really got me to be more confident. The funny thing is, like, I would describe myself back then as an introvert and an extrovert, in the sense that when I'm with family, I'm like wild.
Extremely extrovert.
Yeah, and then when I'm like in front of other people, I'm very quiet and shy. And all my report cards in like primary school shows like, oh, shy, quiet, and these are the common words used for me. But after year 11, experiencing drama and forcing myself to be in those platforms, I wanted to keep going that track, and I tried to find different avenues, and TEDx was always inspiring to me, listening to other people's stories and topics. TEDx is so vast. So when that opportunity came, I applied, and in my head, I'm just thinking, this is a great opportunity to be able to embrace confidence as well.
Wow, that's good. So when you found out about the social anxiety, so you found out that a little bit later, like when you were 9 or 10?
Year 9.
Do you think like you were like that since you were a kid? Or?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I just didn't know it. When you don't know something, you just go along your life and not knowing that you have an issue. So when I got confronted with the signs and symptoms, as I mentioned, I related it to so much. And then I try to work backwards and how I can overcome this. But yeah, I don't think it was a big part of my life. Like if you saw me now or see me now, or people watching, they would not guess like I was an introvert, even in public spaces.
Because when you talk about that one, I could relate to a couple of kids, especially I think immigrants when we speak two different languages at home, right? Obviously when they are a kid, they might be confused with what type of language they are, and then I have seen kids, they're pretty good inside when they are in their own safe space, but when they are outside, like even they are 3, 4 or 5 years of old, right, they cannot talk, they're silent. They're mute, and you could never say that, okay, that person doesn't talk, because they will talk inside their own house.
Maybe it's got to do something with like how they perceive themselves as well. They see like, it could be as simple as like, I'm a different color to the people around me as well, and they don't feel as confident. But I think especially like the Nepalis, the young children growing up, I have my sister, my nephew, they've done a really great job with balancing the Nepali language with English. My nephew, he's 5 years old, and he is so great. When he's outside with non-Nepali people, he's able to pick up English, speak properly. But when he's with our family, we're strict with him. We only speak Nepali, and we only accept him to speak to us in Nepali. So I think it's important to like allow like a child to embrace both languages.
It's good for the kids as well, because they will be able to communicate with their grandparents. They'll be able to communicate if they go back and visit Nepal as well, because if you don't practice anything for long time, then you will forget how to do those things. And if you do that at home, then it's really good for them in the near future. Like I didn't speak English until I came to Australia. I turned out to be fine, I guess.
Yeah, of course, it's perfect English.
I tried to be.
But I have to give it to even my parents, Mommy Bua, for like getting me this far in the Nepali language as well. Without them like speaking to me and having that value in this language, I couldn't be where I am today.
100%. Hats up to mom and dad. On your TED Talk, you mentioned you focus everything about overcoming negative thoughts. Can you elaborate a little bit on that one?
Oh, yes. So negative thoughts, everyone goes through these thoughts. And for me in high school, you have your HSC examinations, and that was a very difficult period for me. Year 11 and year 12 was the most hardest part of my life. I could say one portion. When I did examinations, I was in the mind frame that of the 6 trial examination, I failed 5, and the only one that I passed was English. That came down to a lot of negative self-talk in me. I wasn't feeling the most confident. and it really translated into my results as well. And so where was these negative thoughts coming from? I was just not happy with who I was. And I guess you don't realize what you're saying to yourself, but you're feeling these emotions. So in the TEDx talk, I talk about writing these thoughts down, because you can physically see what you're saying to yourself. Because we go through our days, we're saying so many thoughts to ourselves, but we're just feeling it without criticizing these thoughts. So it was important for me to understand what I'm saying to myself and kind of had a critical look at these words that I'm saying to myself, because it links to self-esteem as well. So even to this day, negative thoughts creep, but then I'm able to be more aware and acknowledge it better. And I think that's the key. When you can see something, as I mentioned with the social anxiety, you're able to tackle it. If you don't know anything about it, it's really hard to overcome something.
Yeah, so writing it down, writing in a piece of paper, you should be able to know, okay, these are the stuff that's been bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, that's really nice. I will do it next time if there is something. Yeah, we all have our own lives, and then days, especially with a life full of chaos nowadays, you are busy. You don't have time for yourself.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff that comes to mind like straight away. Sometimes some of them are good.
Another strategy I did was, like, you have your hair tie or something like that. When you know that you're thinking a negative thought, you just pull it. Give a little bit of self-punishment.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, we should try that one, definitely. We need to have a hair tie within ourselves. So I just want to go a little bit back on your background, because I think I missed it. So I just want to know, growing up, you were growing up here, right? So how was growing up 20 years ago, 24 years ago? I know you were a kid, like you were 18 months when you came here. And then once, for example, you were 5, right?
Yep.
Did you go and look for Nepali kids in the daycare or in your school? Like, how was the experience? Because you celebrate your Dasai, you celebrate your Tihar. Like, just tell me a little bit about those experiences.
I'm very lucky. I still recall, like, when I was 5 years old, in kindergarten, my mum was very close to a family friend. She's also Nepali, and she had a daughter same age as me. So we were both in kindergarten. And even to this day, we're still friends. We don't see each other as much, but when we catch up, that relation is still there. So I lived in Marrickville from the beginning up until age 6, I guess year 1, and then moved to the North Shore. But that critical, like, period when you're in kindergarten, don't know anyone, and you have a Nepali friend, it's so good because you can communicate in your own language and you feel like you belong as well. And then I struggled after moving from Marrickville to the North Shore. In grade 2, there was no Nepali people in the new school, and so I had to, like, hop different friendship groups. And I remember I, like, went home and I said to my parents, I can't find any friends, and that was a struggle. And then I found a friend, but she's not Nepali. She grew up here, Vietnamese background, but we got along really well. But that connection is different to having a fellow Nepali friend.
Yes.
But that was my story growing up. And then in high school, there was very few Nepali people as well. I had a family friend as well who was in the year above me, and then another Nepali friend who came from Nepal in year 9 or something like that, which was, like, at that time, oh, she's another Nepali. But now you're so used to it, you don't think twice.
Yeah, and yeah, it must be like your parents must thought about something. Okay, we need to take her to some, like, for example, if you don't have relatives here, Nepali relatives, you need to find someone so that they get connected. You know what I mean? But yeah, in your case, you were pretty lucky, I guess.
Yeah,
to find someone.
Very lucky, and, like, you have to maintain those relationships that you value as well.
Yeah, those relationships, when you start from preschool or daycare, it will last for really long, because you have that memory. You have that. Even my daughter, she has a best friend. She has only been to the daycare for, I don't know, 6 months now, but she already has a best friend, and she keeps on talking about her.
Of course.
How good is that? You are you are a star on social media. Okay, let's talk about TikTok. You got a good amount of followers. Uh, followers. Yeah, there are people with a high number of followers, but your content is really different than most of the Nepali people. To be honest, I'll tell you about that one, because TikTok is a platform where you can find anything, literally anything, with any, like, groups with any kind of purpose, anything, right? And then your content, people are able to find your content and watch your content out of those 1.3 billion TikTok users, right? How did this thing happen? Like, how did you get into TikTok?
So back in the Musical.ly days, guess I was always like interested in that. But as I mentioned like to you earlier before this podcast, even before TikTok came, I'd like to like edit videos of me having music, edit that in with the footage. So like I guess like when TikTok came, it wasn't something unusual for me. And I guess the real key moment in like me breaking through on TikTok was after like a motivational video that kind of went viral. It's almost like 2 million views so far, almost 1.9, and it's got like 200k likes, 20k comments. And honestly, when I made that video, I just went to a walk in a park. I had braids in my hair, and I just felt inspired to talk about something that was really touching to me in that period. I think it was like 2 years ago maybe. And it was not scripted. It was very genuine. And I was just talking about past, future, present forgiveness. Because I am not proud of some of the things that I've done in the past. My behaviors, how I behave to people. In the sense, like sometimes when you're going through like hardships in your own life, sometimes you can't be the best person for other people because you're not loving and caring for yourself. And I really wanted to move on from that and have the concept that you need to be able to forgive yourself to move forwards. And the person that you are or were last time doesn't have to be the person that you are today or for tomorrow. And I think that really resonated with people because I mean, like as people, like we all make mistakes and we all have regrets and we carry that baggage. But when I spoke these words, I think it connected with a lot of people. Even in the comments, I'm reading their perception of what forgiveness is. But it's interesting because I made a recent video on forgiveness, and that's after like a period apart. And I have this new concept, which is you don't necessarily need to forgive always to be able to move forwards, because sometimes people do unforgivable things. And I've had that happen where like a case of really like high manipulation by a person, and that really hurt me and I couldn't let go of it. And then we hear about, you know, you have to forgive to move on. And I just think not really.
No.
I don't think it's a popular opinion, but I think more importantly, like for greatest moving on is the ability to forgive yourself as well. Some people deserve forgiveness, some people don't.
Yeah, it depends upon what they did as well. As you said, some things will be forget. Like you could forgive, but some you can never. Like that it definitely happens to all of us.
But I think you can move on as well.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird contrast, and it might not make sense, but you can move on without forgiving. I know that sounds strange, but
Yeah, it is hard to move on, right? But what are the other options? That's what I think. Like, for example, if you have something, that's what I was telling you about. I don't like to dwell on my past. Anything happened, it's done. It's gone. You cannot change it. If you had that ability to change it, you could go back and change it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you can't change it. So what are you gonna do until you have to move forward? That's all matters.
Yeah.
You get your own life. You have other people. You have other lives with you as well. So there was that 1.9 million views. That's what made you grow on TikTok.
And I remember like when I was going on a trip to Nepal, I was on 20k followers, and then it just like built up to a point like one day I would get 1k followers, and then in 1 week span 10k followers, and when I reached 60k I felt like, oh, a little bit, wow. And then it just kept growing, and grateful because I've been doing this for a long time, whether it's like YouTube, like vlogs and stuff like that. When TikTok wasn't around, my interest was always in social media. That creative side, you might ask, where does it come from? It's just part of my personality. That's how it feels now. Even though like at the beginning I was saying like social anxiety was a big part of me, but now it's just like I love this space.
Yeah, you love to motivate people. The content you are posting, is it really making difference in people's life? And that was the main reason I was interested in inviting you in this podcast, because your content, your way of delivering things, and as you said about the comments and everything, people are really getting connected.
Exactly.
They could relate themselves to your content, right? And then that's when I related myself to your videos. And as I mentioned weeks ago, that there's something mental health. This topic we don't talk much. There's not much awareness about mental health. Even I think you talk about domestic violence as well, right? So do you think there is enough awareness about domestic violence right now in this time and era?
Look, I definitely think social media has helped the conversation. Even as I speak today, I have a little bit of reservation, in what I can say. Everyone has their limits, you know what I mean? And like today I wanted to like bring a story like of someone I know in my close family friend type thing. And I think it's important to use this example because I know that, not everyone is like me, able to use a platform to speak for themselves, and not everyone wants their story to be told. But as I mentioned in the video that I made about domestic violence, we think domestic violence is just like one person getting hit by another person. That's like the traditional thing. But it can come in many different forms where it's like psychological manipulation, making you feel a certain way, tormenting you, restricting you, limiting you. And what I want to say from what I've heard from my family friend is I'm so glad she was able to exit that relationship because she's a much happier person now. And like day by day, she's growing in strength. And in her case, like she was manipulated by that person. That person used her for PR purposes, got that PR. She had a child loss. Unfortunately, she lost that baby. Even after that, he showed red flags. That's what I like to say. Red flags is when you should be leaving. And she had the perfect opportunity, but, she was strong-willed, wanted to stay in that relationship, make it work. It's in Nepalese society,
Yes.
Divorce. It's no, like you do it until you can make it, and it's like the last thing that breaks you, then you exit. And I want to change that dialogue. You don't have to wait until like it's the last moment to be able to exit. If you see red flags and if you're not feeling happy, happiness is like we only live like a certain period, and if you're not happy in that relationship, why continue forward? Of course, there's like therapy, counseling to make things work. But if you have gone through those phases, don't wait and think this person is going to change, because why haven't they changed? Why are they still in that circle? They've got issues, but it's not your responsibility to fix them. You've got your own life. As a partnership, you do what you can to make that relationship work. And I mentioned like it's 20 times complicated when you have a child. So for all those people watching and listening, if you're in a relationship that you're not happy in and you see red flags and it's like toxic, it's better to end it, because your life at the end of that relationship could be something amazing.
Yeah, fair enough. You mentioned about the Nepalese, especially in Nepalese, we don't, there is no such thing as divorce. And because, for example, if you are born in Nepal, if you are grown, like you grew up in Nepal in a small place or in any place, right? Except Kathmandu. Kathmandu is pretty urban and city. Nobody cares about no one. But if you live in a tight community, then everybody starts to talk, right? That's what doesn't allow that particular person to leave their relationship. They'll think about it. Oh, what my parents gonna think? What they gonna think? What they gonna think? But at the end of the day, it's your life. You're not happy. You're not happy. You don't have to wait until, like you said, you don't have to wait until the end to exit. like the red flags are pretty. They should know if you are in the relationship and something is like weird. Just get, if you can work it out, if you can, because people change.
Yeah.
People change, but
People do
sometimes,
change.
yeah, because sometimes it might be because of, for example, if you are living overseas, because of the money pressure, because of the quality of life pressure, because not everybody are able to have a good like a quality life in Australia. Everybody's working.
Exactly.
You gotta pay your mortgage. If you are a uni student, you gotta pay your uni fee. You're working couple of different. You're juggling between your work and life, and you are married. You are young. You married. You get married, and you came to Australia. Went overseas, and imagine you have kids in the middle. So there is a lot of these things. So as you said, counseling. If those things doesn't work, then there is always a way out. And it's good to share those things with your family members, I think.
Yeah. So like in that case, like my family friend that went through that, I'm really proud of her, like of where she was and where she is now, and like that step that she took was the hardest step for her. Everything else now is in comparison like much easy. But you know, it's not easy. It's easier said than done.
Yes. It's
This
the person who went through that one can only experience exactly what happened to them, and the amount of load they were bearing when they were in that kind of relationship, nobody can has that experience. Same, like, because we can only talk what we have experienced.
Yeah. And even actually her friend, like she's in an abusive relationship where she gets hit. Her husband is an alcoholic. This alcohol thing is out of control. Like it really distorts your mind and like your actions as well. So if you can do things that you can remove in your life to make yourself a better person, don't make someone else's life miserable. Sort yourself out. And if you can't, you have to know that that person's not always going to stick around. I think as a society, we're moving away from that idea that we have to be in that relationship for the rest of your life. People have to step up their game and respect one another.
Respect and trust.
Oh yes, trust is a very big thing. Honesty and trust. If you can be honest to yourself and honest with your partner or like whoever you are in a relationship with, that is the foundation to a successful relationship.
You talk about trust as well on your videos, isn't it?
Yeah, because how many times does one person get manipulated and lied to? You know, it's just experiences. And like when you break someone's trust, it's like a glass breaking. You can put it back together, but there'll always be cracks. You put water in it, water seeps out. So better not to break someone's trust, better to be honest. That's the best policy, I think.
As I mentioned, you are an author as well, right? So
Self-published.
you did that. Not everybody publishes their own stuff. I got my stuff from last 12 years. It's somewhere on the diary. Like one is back in Nepal. It's like 15 years ago. And I'm trying to get that over here.
Yeah.
To see exactly if that's relevant right now or not. Because not everybody, you have to take a step. Not everybody takes a step. So you did it. So as the author of Finding Middle Ground, your poetry, she will say some poem as well. It has deep emotions in it, right? So does this poetry played some role in your personal healing journey? Was there a part?
Yeah, for me, I love writing, and as I mentioned in high school, like just the trial, I did really well in HSC. Don't mind me, but like the trial examination, I failed 5 out of 6. The only thing that I passed was English, and I love like writing and that side of. I've got my own website that I have the poetry on, blogs as well. Writing has always been the biggest strength for me, and when I was going through hardships as well, I still have like multiple diaries where I'm writing my thoughts down, expressing myself. So Finding Middle Ground, that title was basically to capture life is up and down. I'm trying to find a baseline, finding middle ground. It's a journey. And in a course of 7 years, I would say that collection is about 100 poems. Now, not that I don't like it, but all my poems are relatively short, and I like it like that. Most of my poems don't have titles. And but it's funny because there was a period in those 7 years, really creative periods, when I'd be sleeping and then, like unable to sleep. And then I get words like concepts and ideas, and I have my phone beside me and I'm like, I can't let it go. So I have to be typing it, even in like 2 a.m. I don't know where it comes, but it comes. There was one time when I was walking home from work, and then a poem came to me, and as I was walking I had to write it down because you forget.
Yeah.
But that's like the level of creativity.
That's amazing. Look, it just came. It's natural.
It's, yeah, I
When
guess.
when we sit down to write something, it will take us ages. Do you got some poems with you?
Yes, I do. I brought 3 poems. मैले 3टा ल्याएको छु यहाँ, मेरो favorite poems. And
Let's hear it.
okay, so I know I said my poems don't have titles, but basically I think the best title for this is Greatness, and you'll know why. So, greatness is around me, greatness is beside me, yet greatness seems to always be outside me. But how silly of me, for to know and be surrounded by greatness, I now know this feeling of gratefulness is my greatest gift. You can see why the title will be great.
Greatness.
A lot of greatness.
Oh, that's good. It's short and sweet.
It's short and sweet, and it's
You don't like because a long poem you'll forget it, but this, like, you got a couple of lines, right? 5-6 lines.
Yeah.
And it's saying what it's supposed to say. It's amazing. Let's hear another one.
Yep. Now this one, I'll just call it Mirror, Mirror. So I wonder if the mirrors lie to us, that face we see in front of us. Is it really what we look like, or just a fictitious character created by our thoughts? But aren't our thoughts either polluted or nourished? Polluted with other people's criticisms or nourished with other people's adorations? But it is those lingering thoughts which determine whether we'll flourish. Whether our mind has been polluted or nourished, whether the mirror tells lies or truths, what remains is nothing but the truth set within us. For the only real mirror is what we silently say to ourselves when no one is watching.
It's so deep.
I think, no matter, even in my case, whatever other people say about me, whether it's good or bad, at the end of the day, what do I take away from it? When I go home, sleep at night with my own thoughts, what am I saying to myself? How do I feel? This is what matters most.
You use the mirror as something because there are people around, right, who are not good, who are amazing, but people portray them as a really bad person sometimes, and we're really bad, but people portray them as a really good person. And then, like, if you don't know at the end of the day who you are inside of you, then there's no point of doing what you're doing, because you have to be able to understand, you have to be able to know inner you. That's pretty deep. And
yeah, and I lost like a part of me especially when I made that motivational video that we were talking about. That was prior to that, a very low point in my life. I would say in my life journey, there's been 2 low points, 2015 and 2021. But, using those experiences, you try to learn and not make those mistakes again. But it has made me who I am today.
You're doing amazing.
Thank you. And lucky
last one.
Okay. So this is the poem that as I was walking home from work that came to me and typing. So why are we always in a rush to get from A to B? Are we afraid that we may miss something that we were supposed to see? But in our hot pursuit, we will never realize that the something was nothing indeed, and that the journey to be is actually the one to set you free.
As I said earlier, it's short and sweet. It's nice.
It doesn't take long to read 100 poems.
And it's something that you connected to yourself,
Yeah, exactly.
as you told about your own personal journey.
Mm-hmm.
So it is connected to everybody. That's what I think, because we always had highs and lows at some point in our life. It's not as smooth.
It's not.
I just remember one thing. I don't know. It's something on Facebook Reels or something. So this person showed other person the heartbeat. It's up and down, it's up and down. It's not smooth.
Oh, it shouldn't be one.
Exactly.
That's
It's
it.
not. It's not a straight line. It's up and down, right?
Up and down.
That's why we're moving. To spread the to start putting the contents about this positivity, mental health, and everything. What made you click that one? Like you told me the video 2 years ago. Was that the first video that you posted about?
No, I actually have given a couple of mental health talks as well, in public, but because of my experiences, I feel like there's a greater meaning in life when I can connect my experiences, coming on the other side, knowing that I'm helping someone that was in my position. Because if I think I can do it from my heart, then it's easy to show. If I genuinely didn't believe it, it's hard for me to communicate these things. And, if someone like me was a role model for me when I was younger, that would have meant the world for me. It's just having that communication and transparency, and the big motivation for me to keep going is it's like a two-way relationship. If I am doing something that I love and it's connecting with people, I'm doing something that makes me happy, and it's resulting in good outcomes as well. Makes me happy again.
Yeah. So it has a greater purpose.
Yeah, and it started off with lip syncs, dance, but then I thought I've got such a platform now that I want to make an impact. And using that platform and people who I can connect with, that's where Atina Dreams came in 2015. You know how I said there was two low points in my life? Atina Dreams was born in a low period. And I wanted to not use my name, but be creative with my name. So Atina is just my name backwards, just to use a play on words. And the purpose of Atina is pie. Now, the reason why I just wanted an imagery as well, pie. Sharing, eating, having fun. Provoke thoughts, inspire, and entertain. For me, you can't pinpoint what I do because I want to be so versatile in what I can do, even in the future. If I just stuck with the idea, lip syncs and dances, and created like a brand just surrounding that, I don't have the flexibility to move. But in my opinion, pie can be anything. And I like that because I can develop and grow it. It's like a little baby.
Pie. That's a nice name. So, provoking thought.
Mm-hmm.
Provoking thought, right?
Yep.
And then inspiring and entertaining, which you are doing it. Entertaining, inspiring, and provoking thought. So that's why you are pretty good on TikTok and social media. How about other social? Are you quite active on other Facebook and Instagram as well?
Yeah, I do have a Facebook page. I recently deactivated my Facebook only because I wanted one less social media, I guess. But I'm on Instagram as well. Same name, Atina Dreams. YouTube, Atina Dreams. TikTok is number one. As you mentioned, it's really the analytics or the algorithm in YouTube and even Instagram. It's really hard to crack. But again, I know if I'm in it for the right reasons and not just for the counts.
Exactly.
Because if I was just chasing the views and followers, I wouldn't be able to do it for such a long time. It's not sustainable. But I enjoy it. And then it just in turn, people are now enjoying it too with me. It's an added bonus, not something I directly as my number one priority.
Isn't it hard sometimes? Like you do have a full-time job and then you have to make videos to post it. You have to think about what you need to talk, and you're doing your other lip sync thing on Nepali thing, ever dancing. You are promoting, right? So doesn't sometimes it gets like, oh, I'm doing too much, I don't want to do it.
I know from the outside I can understand and see your perspective, like doing a lot of things.
Because some days you post like 2-3 videos as well, right? Exactly.
So I just made a video, like I think it was this morning, like it's been a week and it's really difficult for me. I made this rule, and it might change later, that I will post only 2 times a day, like with a 12-hour difference, and just create more of a routine. But right of this moment, I have 2 months content worth ready in drafts.
Wow.
Yeah, because when I make TikToks and I'm in an outfit or I'm doing lip syncs, dances, I make like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and it's in drafts. So sitting there ready to post. So although it looks like I'm doing TikTok every day, not necessarily. I just have backup, which is good, because if you want that time away from TikTok as well, there is that opportunity just to sit back. But I enjoy what I do.
People, as you mentioned, some people won't be able to share it to the outside world, right?
Yep.
But you were out there, you were sharing your own personal experiences with audience whom you never met in your life. People from US, people from other parts of the world, they will watch you, right? So do you ever thought about, do I have to put it out there, my personal thing? Or because people can just go to ChatGPT and find the quotation and talk. You know what I'm saying, right? So what are your thoughts on when you just started like sharing your own personal experiences? Was it like, okay, do I want to do that one, or I just want to give them like a summary of what exactly needs to happen?
With that one, like I just think if you're speaking from your heart as opposed to writing from ChatGPT, although I might add, I love ChatGPT. Like for any, like how to cook this or make this, it's perfect. But it's just easy for me to use my experiences. Now, I'm not going to lie, I don't 100% put out everything that happens in my life. You just see a portion of it. It's like seeing an iceberg. You see a tip of the iceberg. There's so many layers to me, so much of my story. But I think you have to discern which is worth value of putting out there, whilst also maintaining yourself as well. You don't want to overshare and overkill. So you need to keep a little bit of privacy for yourself as well.
Yeah, otherwise a whole audience, 200,000, 250,000?
Yeah, around just over 200K.
Yeah. They pretty much know Anita's anyway. They know who is Athena Dreams, what is Anita Dreams. So coming back to social medias, right? We talk off air. There are pros and cons about social medias. What do you think about, especially with TikTok? Because there was a lot of thing going on with the TikToks.
Yeah.
The kids were making it with a fake account. There was a lawsuit back in US. Even here, the government agencies, they don't allow TikTok on their government issue devices and everything. What are your thoughts on these?
Well, I was very lucky to have a balance between the two. Growing up, like we had the Nokia phones and you play the snakes game. So I wasn't born into social media. So I know life outside social media in childhood as well, playing in the playgrounds with your friends. And I think as a society now, like kids growing up, even like when I see other kids, they're glued to their phones, which is not a good thing. I think you need to have outdoor experiences as well, just rather than just being glued to your phone, because there, as you mentioned, there are negative effects with social media as well. You have to handle the good with the bad as well. I don't get all good comments, some comments are not so nice, but I think the good outweigh the bad, and I think as a person I don't let so far affect me, because I know what I'm doing is greater and bigger than the criticisms, and I chose this. Like, I'm choosing to post, so I'm opening doors to both positives and negatives, and that's my choice. But even like as you mentioned, like I think Anthony Albanese was trying to social media with the teens, or I can see and value why that perspective is now put forward, because we are losing, as I mentioned, like human experiences. Not everything should be digital. And I think we should have those privileges when we're strong within ourselves. Comes back to self-confidence and all these themes of self-esteem. Social media can make you, break you, then break you as well. So whilst it's going good now for me, I also have to keep in mind, just as easily as not easily, but that I am there, it will not always be the same level. It's how I direct things as well and the love that I receive. But you need a kind of a strategy going forward as well. What is your focus? What is your aim? What do you want to do? What is the purpose? Purpose? For me, easy pie.
Yeah. It's a bigger picture. That if you don't have criticism, you will never grow. That's what I think.
Mm.
You need to have some people who likes to, especially on social media. Yeah,
Stir the
like,
pot.
Do you read all the comments on your TikTok or?
Oh, I really do appreciate the comments that people do, because like they're choosing to spend their time and watch my videos and comment. I make a real big effort, even if I don't reply, I'll put a little heart. But the content with the let's talk little tab, I want to be more interactive. So I try to reply back to those that are adding to the conversation. So that's my new thing. Like, I want to be more interactive. That's where that interest in talking as well came, rather than just dance.
You need to have really thick skin to actually be on social media. It just, if you don't have negative comments, how do you know your video is not that good? Somebody has to provide some, because there might be something, but I might be seeing as from my point of view. You will be seeing as you said, there was something about the line. I'm not perfect, but it's.
Oh yeah, this is my quote. I'm glad that you brought it up. And it goes like, I may not be perfect in your eyes, but it's my eyes that see the world.
Yeah, exactly. So they might take that content in one way, but if they are the one, for example, domestic violence, if they are the one, they are doing those minor stuff, hitting the wife or hitting the partner, even hitting the husband. It's not just about
oh yeah, of course.
the domestic violence. It's not just about men hitting a woman. It's
I'm glad you brought that up, because I'm just thinking one perspective, but you're definitely
but
right.
Because men also suffer domestic violence, right? So if they are on that side of the part, who are the one they are bullying, because if growing up, I was never bullied, but I have heard stories about it. And when I chat with the bully, they never thought they were bullying.
Oh yeah,
and it's different in our country. Here, you can tell. In our country, it's not. In Nepal, in India, it's not bullying. It's just ragging. That's what they do. You go to the engineering college, you get ragging. It's not bullying, but technically, it's a bullying. And nobody reports it because, come on, they got to stay in that uni for a really long time, right? So even small things, name calling, saying bad names, those kind of stuff, they all, the person who is doing that, they may see the videos of like our or you and anybody, and they're like, oh no, this is normal. This is me growing. When I was growing, this was a part. So there has to be always someone to take you. Okay, I think the kind of people are like a catalyst to me. It will help me to move forward rather than pulling me back. So because I don't know them, I don't care. Who cares?
Yeah, everyone is different how they take on that criticism.
Exactly. That's why thick skin is really important. I remember Pratibha telling me, because I didn't have social media. I deactivated 2013.
Yep.
So 10 years, nothing. Believe me, no Facebook, no YouTube, nothing. And all of a sudden, I was out there in Facebook. I was in public. It's not just a private account, it's a public account. I was putting things out there.
And I think you're doing a great job, like giving this platform to other people and sharing your thoughts as well in between is like a great thing that you're doing.
Yeah, that's a bigger picture. It's always good to know, because we are just a growing community here in Australia. What's the person? We are not even on top 10. So we need to be able to guide the further generations that are coming down, the future generations, you know. And so just trying to do something when I'm not busy. So you were named Miss Congeniality at UNA 2018. So what is that? Can you tell me a little bit?
Again, like it just links back to, it was a beauty pageant. I didn't go in the intention of like winning or anything like that again. Like,
But you won it.
yeah, like a little minor prize.
No, but
I think congeniality is just like getting along with people, friendliness, and it's just, with social anxiety, I was just looking more steps, what I can do to overcome this. And I think it's just never stopped from age 16, discovering that social anxiety. I'm just pushing myself. Any opportunity I get, even like today, I just thought, wow, like the opportunity to see you, speak to you, connect with people. I said yes. And like,
thanks for that.
no, that's great. Thank you so much. But it's built up my self-confidence. Like, I get excited rather than nervous. And it's got to do a lot with building yourself up as well. So I just want to say to anyone like out there, if you are not confident, trust me, I was not always a confident person, but look where I am now and what I've achieved. To know that not just because I can do it, you can do it, but it's possible. Like, you can change yourself if you want to change yourself. It has to come inherently.
It's a mindset as well, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely mindset.
Yeah,
Mind over matter.
exactly. You can do anything. You just have to start and just take a step, one day at a time.
I think what I've come to realize is the biggest thing in life is happiness. And for me, that comes with family. And family is like, I'm grateful for family, because if it wasn't for family, I don't think I would be here today and who I am without their support. And even in those low times, the biggest thing is having hope. You might not see the picture ahead, but if you have hope, that's what gets a bicycle turning to keep moving. Hope is such a big driving force. Even like now, I don't have what am I going to do in 10 years' time? I have like a vague idea, like a road map, but I can't say, because there's so many things that happen in life with your health, mental health, like your track in life, physical health, and some things you can't control. But even to be able to come here today and like thank my family, I'm really grateful for that, because they deserve a lot.
Family, the most important thing.
Mm.
You mentioned mental health, right? So what do you think is the most common misconception about mental health?
That it is short-term, because I think it's an ongoing battle. It's not something short-term. You can learn strategies how to overcome something, and you might be a period of wellness for a long period of time, but it takes maintenance. Just like if you're low in vitamin D, you have to take vitamin D tablets. It's a journey. Anyone can be sick anytime. With mental health, you can't see it. And I think that's the difficulty, because we hear so many stories, like we see, especially social media, people are so happy. And like one thing that's crazy, I had a note in my head to talk about this, linked with domestic violence, and I was in shock with that. You know what I'm talking about, Momta Cafe?
Yes.
That case, because I was told by my aunt at the beginning, like, oh, this has happened. And then like I kind of saw it on my feed as well. And then just recently got the news that they found the body or pieces of it, I think, which is so sad. And I've seen her TikToks as well. And as an outsider, you think, wow, she has a daughter, a husband. They look happy. Like, I'm not sure if you've seen some of their TikToks. You don't know what a person is going through. So coming back to your question, like misconception about mental health, it's not what it appears on the outside. People can look sad, but be happy inside, maybe.
100%.
But people can look so happy on the outside, but be battling such sadness on the inside. And I think it's just about understanding that people's actions are sometimes guided by their mindset as well. As I mentioned, like, I think there was a period of, this is how I like to put it, compromise clarity even within myself, that like as I mentioned, I was not happy with some of the things that I was projecting onto other people and how I treat other people, because I was not in the right mind frame. And I can only imagine and hope that that person, there's a particular case I don't want to say, but if they happen to be listening to this, I just wanted this opportunity to say, like, I'm sorry, because like we don't know like what another person is going through and reflection going back, but sometimes people are not as happy as they look, and we have to be kind. And if we have a little bit of more conversation and understanding and let people know, then that has the ability to be more vulnerable and have that communication. Transparency is the case. Transparency is the key. And in her case, I think she was trying to exit that relationship.
Yeah.
And we talked about not waiting till the last moment.
Exactly.
I just think the case would have turned out completely different if she acknowledged the red flags earlier on. But again, it's easier said than done. We don't know the details, nitty-gritty
Yeah.
details, but mental health is very confusing at times to other people as well, even within yourself, because the mind is such a crazy thing, isn't it? Like I don't know what to say.
No, it's you already said a lot. It's just yeah, I had like I'm joining the Mamata Kafle's case. We don't know exactly what went there, but there were a few videos that came to my feed as well.
Mm-hmm.
Where she was inside the car and she was talking about, I don't know, lawyer or finding something relationship about that one, and then it's not always what you see outside, even the small things, right? For example, you go into a workplace, you are with your mates, what's happening? I'm having a busy day, and they're joking about some stuff that I might take it seriously.
Yep.
So because name calling and joking is pretty normal, even being Aussie or being Nepali, we do that one anyway. But and then if I don't really like it, I can say, I should be able to say, please don't talk in that particular thing. Or the people who are talking to me or who are saying something to me, they might see change in my facial expressions. I might feel, so they should ask, are you okay? Is there something we do? That's why we got the Are You Okay Day, right? So where people ask each other what's happening, everything all right. Even those small talks, it might just, because you might have a lot of things, and then somebody talks to you nicely. Are you okay? Is everything all right? How is your family? It just gives them a motive to just open up a little bit, something like that. So yeah, it is different to the person who actually has we actually went through this than just saying. And it's a big topic. It's not a small topic, and it has a broad spectrum of things inside it. So yeah, I really want to ask you something. If someone is struggling with self-doubt,
Yep.
so how do they find the middle ground?
That's a good question. So I'll go back to take time. I think it's simple as that. Have hope, as I mentioned. Take time, have hope. Write it down.
Now writing down.
But always surround yourself with people that you love and have that space to grow as well. See your surroundings and don't let things pull you down. Sometimes we need to let go of things that are making us feel a certain way. Self-doubt can be from external factors as well. If you remove yourself from that environment, let yourself flourish. Acknowledge it, be more aware, but take time, have hope. That's two advice. Take time and have hope.
Hope is what keeps us alive, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Hope to wake up next day.
Exactly. Life is so, like in the TEDx talk, I was saying life is so short, but life is also long.
It is.
It's short and long. Like
I always like to think life is really long.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because I had a chat with one of the guests here. He was like, life is so, but for me it's like, no, life is really long. 365 days in a year, but we don't know how long that life is
exactly
gonna be. That's what I think. That's what that's what that life is short saying would be. I'm not quite sure, but that's what I think, because we don't know what tomorrow gonna be, right?
No,
So that's why life is short.
life is short.
But if we wake up tomorrow, then we always hope for the better.
Exactly. I think that's a good note.
You do promote. So I recently had one of your content, and you like to help small businesses as well through your content, and so how did that happen? Because you're posting your dancing, entertaining this stuff, right, and promoting stuff like small businesses, because nowadays everybody wants to do something on their own, right?
Yep.
And they needed a proper platform.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that thing came up on your mind? Okay, I gotta help businesses.
Oh, like I think it's a great responsibility, great honor, great privilege for people or businesses to think that I can help them. And if I have the ability to, I don't accept everything. I do get offers, but what I connect with, what I like, I do accept, because if I can do a small thing to make their business grow, that's something positive. And, you know, that comes into like mental health. I'm doing it because like I want something positive. But in saying that, even today, like I did like a review, I got this bracelet from a small business, this earring. Like it's nice to be able to get things as well. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I wouldn't be selective if I was like that, but I think it's a good exposure for businesses. For me, it's like a symbiotic relationship.
So I thought that was pretty big in US, and I don't know, in US it's pretty big. Like you do have certain amount of followers, then you'll get approached by the businesses to promote there, and I see everybody promoting everything. And then I think that's good in TikTok as well. Like in Australia, I don't know how big is TikTok in Australia.
I think like there is in America, I'm not too sure, correct me if I'm wrong, they have like creator funds.
It's not here, isn't
It's
it?
not
exactly.
here.
And I
that
think
needs to change.
yeah, TikTok, please change it.
Change it for Australia.
We got people with amazing followers. You should see Nepalese, some of them TikTok, like the 6.9 million.
Who?
She's a dancer.
I'm not too sure.
She's a dancer.
I know, like, it's just amazing. Like, we have this platform, but like, we get restricted in terms of hard work as well. Being at the end of the day, like, you do need to sustain yourself as well.
Like, if you are getting reward for something you really enjoy, you do it because, like in your case, you are doing some positive. You are doing you're doing positive things out there. You are help people. You're putting your content. You're putting your effort. I think TikTok should also do their
part
because that's when I realized I watched an interview about Aussie TikTok, and he was like, it's zero money, and I was like, that's not right. Then I realized Australia is not even on the list.
I don't know why. Like you would only imagine Australia would be on
government thing.
What I'm actually interested to do, and I have to give my hats off to especially the Nepali content creators, the day in my life is like so interesting. You connect with people. That's definitely what I want to do as well. But I just think it's a lot of hard work. As much as I do lip syncs, that's easy to make. But day in your life, like those people that do it, constantly recording, accumulating the footage and making it out there to connect with people, I appreciate that as well.
Imagine you do something, you have to put the tripod with you every time you go, and then you have to edit that big amount of into small content.
I started off with on iPhone, iMovie, right? Like back in the days.
iMovie, yeah.
But now I'm really liking CapCut. CapCut is good.
CapCut is easy. And
just for, I guess, like people.
Yeah, for me personally, I didn't like CapCut.
Oh, okay.
Because I was more into Adobe. Because CapCut has already built-in themes, and it's just.
But like just for like editing has become so much more simplified for just
you can do like I got one brother back in Nepal. He does editing on CapCut, and I'm like, oh my god, those sound effects.
Yep.
Those, let's say he does a little bit stuff about trading like figure illustrations. When you are talking, the figure is moving. Those kind of stuff. Where did you do it? CapCut. Oh my god. Now CapCut is good. It's always better to, I think, use free stuff.
Yeah.
Rather than getting paid.
Of course.
So what's next for you? What's next for Anita?
Okay, so my dream, it's a big thing to say dream, is what I am doing. I want it to line up with like work as well. Because as you mentioned, there's no like creator funds in Australia. It's like, how do I bring in money, right? I want to do something I love, which I am doing, and also like have income as well. So I'm currently in market research. I've been in the market research industry for 5 years. After COVID, I've just been working from home. I like my job. I get to speak to people, interview people about certain topics and get their thoughts and write it all down. But I think the next step for me is really connecting a role where it's with my passions. I've got a interview upcoming, which hopefully is successful, and that will be the next step for me, is linking these two things, because I think I'm the type of person, like with work, it's really difficult for me to sustain it if I don't like it. If I don't like it, I just feel really demotivated. So I think the key to success is doing what you love, but it's really difficult sometimes to find what you love and also is a good income as well.
Yeah.
But I think you can sustain and the longevity if you just pursue it wholeheartedly. So I'm, again, hopeful. You know, you don't need to know like the whole staircase. I think there's a quote, just the next steps, and then you'll get there one day, hopefully. It's the journey.
Best of luck for
not the
that.
destination,
Yeah.
A to B.
All right. Look, funny you mentioned that one. Okay. So I always like to ask my guests, what do you think is the most important?
Mm-hmm.
But you already answered, it's the journey, not the destination. I'm the destination kind of a guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always the destination because, I don't know, journey is journey because we do that to get there. So I think I will be more happy, more satisfied when I'm there.
You let me know. How about that? When
Yeah.
one day you get to your
100%.
destination, you let me.
Yeah, so I'm more of the destination thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I was about to ask you that one. You just said, and so this is stuff, I know you like it. It might be your hobbies, but what do you exactly do when you have your time for yourself?
Oh, I like reading.
Obviously.
Yeah, I like reading. Social media is a big part.
Do you travel or not?
Oh, I would love to travel. I mean, I've only been to Nepal here and then here a little bit, like Queensland, Melbourne. But I'd like to travel more. I've got heaps of family all over the world: Scotland, Portugal, obviously Nepal, but like all different parts of the world, because like my family is very big, and one of the reasons why I know I'm speaking English like the whole time, but I'm capable of speaking Nepali as well. Reason like is once my parents and we came to Australia, as you mentioned, there was not many Nepalis there, but then there was a period when there was an influx of Nepali people, like the gates open, like a waterfall. Like that's when all my relatives, cousins, uncles, and they came here. And having that environment to speak that language and grow was, I forgot the question. What was I talking about?
No, what do you like to do if you have your time for yourself?
Oh my God, that went off a tangent.
It's okay.
Well, on spare time, but I think what I'm doing consumes a lot of my time because it's so diversified. Like I can do anything that I put my mind to. So yeah.
And you have, I just remember one thing. You do have your own podcast as well.
Oh yes, this one I've kind of neglected of the many things that I do. Like I have this vision. And like one of my talks was going to be with one of my best friends regarding mental health and her journey. So, and she's been like telling me, oh, Anita, like when are we going to do the podcast? And I'm like, yeah, we'll do it. But that's definitely on the priority. I want to build that up as well. But right now, a little bit occupied with other things. But again, Pi is so versatile. I can come back to it anytime.
Always. Thanks for being here. It was... it was good talk. It was a nice
Yeah,
talk
I
with
enjoyed
you.
it. It was
And then
nice speaking to you as well.
and hopefully we are able to get something out of this conversation. And remember pie, remember hope. That's really important. That's what keeps us going. That's what helps us to wake up next day. And Anita, she talks about this kind of stuff on her TikTok. I'll post the link down. And so thanks for being here. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah, I want to say thank you as well. I think what you're doing is a
can-
great thing as well.
If you like this episode, please like, share, and subscribe. Until then, your host Sarad Bhattarai signing off.